Adolf Hitler. By early 1945, Hitler's war was lost. Soviet forces were closing in, Allied troops advancing from the west, and Berlin was being bombed into rubble. Hitler retreated into a concrete bunker beneath the city and kept issuing orders to armies that barely existed. On April 30th, 1945, with Soviet soldiers just blocks away, he shot himself in the head. Eva Braun, his wife of less than 2 days, took cyanide beside him. Their bodies were carried outside, soaked in petrol, and burned in the garden, as Hitler had personally requested, not wanting his corpse put on display like Mussolini's. Benito Mussolini. As Allied forces advanced through Italy in April 1945, Mussolini tried to flee to Switzerland disguised as a German soldier, hiding in the back of a military truck. He was recognized by communist partisans at a checkpoint near Lake Como. On April 28th, he and his mistress were taken to a small village and shot. Their bodies were then driven to Milan and hung upside down by their feet from the roof of a gas station, the same square where fascists had previously displayed the bodies of their own victims. Crowds gathered and beat the corpses for hours. Nicolae Ceaușescu. On December 21, 1989, Ceaușescu gave a speech from a Bucharest balcony, and for the first time in his 24-year rule, the crowd started booing him. Live on national television, you can see the exact moment he realizes something has gone terribly wrong. Protests exploded across Romania within hours. He and his wife Elena fled by helicopter from the roof of Communist Party headquarters and were captured the same day. On Christmas morning, after a 2-hour military tribunal held in a small room, both were found guilty and taken outside immediately. The entire process, trial and execution, took less than an hour. Muammar Gaddafi. After 42 years in power, Gaddafi's end came during the Arab Spring. He called protesters rats on live television and threatened to hunt them house by house. Civil war followed. NATO airstrikes shifted the balance. Rebels took Tripoli, and Gaddafi fled. On October 20, 2011, a NATO strike hit his convoy near Sirte. He survived and crawled into a drainage pipe to hide. Rebel fighters found him there. Video footage showed him olive and bleeding as he was dragged out. He was dead within the hour. His body was later displayed in a refrigerated storage unit in Misrata, where crowds lined up for days to see it. Saddam Hussein. After the U.S.-led invasion collapsed his government in weeks, Saddam spent 8 months in hiding. On December 13, 2003, U.S. forces acting on a tip raided a farm near Tikrit. They found him in a small underground hole in the ground, barely large enough to lie in, disheveled, with a long beard, surrendering without a fight. A military doctor filmed the moment and said on camera, "Saddam Hussein, former president of Iraq, caught like a rat." He was later tried for crimes against humanity and hanged on December 30, 2006. Mobile phone footage of the execution leaked worldwide within hours. Idi Amin ruled Uganda for 8 years and was responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths. His downfall came when he made the mistake of invading Tanzania. Tanzania struck back, pushed all the way to Kampala, and Amin fled by helicopter as the capital fell. He eventually ended up in Saudi Arabia, where the royal family gave him asylum on one condition: stay out of politics. He spent the rest of his life in Jeddah, swimming, playing the accordion, and giving interviews showing zero remorse. In 2003, he fell into a coma from kidney failure. His wife asked Uganda's president to let him return home to die. The request was rejected. His family removed him from life support, and he was buried in a simple grave with no ceremony. Pol Pot. Pol Pot was responsible for the deaths of up to 2 million people, a quarter of Cambodia's population. When Vietnam invaded and overthrew him in 1979, he simply retreated into the jungle and kept leading the Khmer Rouge as a guerrilla movement for nearly 2 more decades. He was never captured by any international court. In 1997, his own former colleagues arrested him, tired of his leadership, and sentenced him to house arrest in a jungle camp. He died there on April 15, 1998, of apparent heart failure. A journalist who visited described his body lying on a simple wooden cot. He never faced a real trial for anything. Augusto Pinochet. Pinochet ruled Chile for 17 years after a military coup, during which thousands were tortured and killed. He actually left power peacefully after losing a 1988 referendum. He thought he was untouchable. Then, in 1998, while in London for back surgery, he was arrested on a Spanish international warrant for crimes against humanity. He spent 503 days under house arrest in Britain while courts debated extradition. He was eventually sent home on the grounds of ill health, and Chilean courts began filing over 300 criminal charges against him. He never stood trial for any of them. He died of a heart attack on December 10, 2006, aged 91. His family requested a state funeral. The government refused. Slobodan Milošević lost power in 2000 when crowds stormed the Serbian parliament after a disputed election. The following year, he was handed over to the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague, the first former head of state ever sent there. His trial became the longest in the tribunal's history. He refused a lawyer, defended himself, and dragged proceedings out for years. Then, in March 2006, he was found dead in his cell before any verdict could be reached. The cause was a heart attack. The tribunal had recently denied his request for medical treatment abroad. He died without a verdict, though later, rulings confirmed he had been part of a criminal enterprise responsible for ethnic cleansing across 3 countries. Mobutu Sese Seko Mobutu ruled the Democratic Republic of Congo, which he renamed Zaire after himself, for 32 years. He looted the country so thoroughly that economists invented a term for it, the kleptocratic state. By the mid-1990s, a rebel movement led by Laurent Désiré Kabila was advancing, and Mobutu was dying of prostate cancer. He fled the country in May 1997 as rebels entered the capital. He went to Morocco, where the king gave him temporary refuge. He died there on September 7, 1997, just 4 months after losing power. He was buried in Rabat. His stolen fortune, estimated in the billions, was mostly never recovered.
Thank you for watching this episode to the end. If you found it insightful, support the channel by subscribing. More analytical stories are coming soon.